Hey Bob, how are you? Here we are, satellite. This isn't a satellite station. This is the mothership here. We're broadcasting from the mothership right here in Cleveland. If you fold the map in half, the line runs right through where I'm sitting right here.
Right this minute.
That's right.
First thing I want to ask you tonight, David, is what prompted the decision to self-produce with a little help from Steve Vai this time, but how come you decided to go that route this time around?
Well, producing is something that you seemingly inherit before you're actually ready. You know, it's like in the old movies where the guy who sweeps up, you know, backstage at the opera, he thinks, oh, well, one day I'm going to sing, you know, and he sweeps up for weeks and weeks, and one day the star gets sick and they're pacing backstage and they scream, somebody's got to sing the part, and you go, oh, I think I can do it, you know, and the girlfriend goes, you can, honey. So you go on to it, you know, after the Ted Templeman adventures, and they were great times, and I learned a tremendous amount there. It seemed that I knew the tools, you know, to be able to produce something like this, and of course, like working with Steve Vai makes things that much easier.
Oh, yeah, I bet. You were in the studio a long time. You just wanted to get it right, I guess, huh?
Well, not so much get it right as, you know, when you picture the end of the rainbow somewhere, and, you know, a lot of times you end up taking the scenic route, like it or not. You know, you start playing around with some of the technology and whatnot, and the most difficult thing is trying to translate a very live and raw sound out of the studio onto tape. You know, that's going to take you twice as long as trying to use all the colors in the console. So we were in there for about 8.5 months this time, and woo, it's just like being in a submarine in there.
Time to get out and see the light of day, huh?
Well, actually, I haven't seen that either, Bob. I've been on the road for a month now. Look, he lives like you and me.
Well, we're going to throw it in high gear right off the top here from the album Skyscraper, David Lee Roth and his band with Knucklebones on Rockline.
You feel the winds of chill. All the drums will tell that to
Knuckle Bones by David Lee Roth, my guest for the entire program tonight on Rockline.
Feel it right down to your knuckle bones, America. Get on the phone, put your little finger in the dial and turn it around. Give us a call and let's see what's on your mind there. We got all the answers here.
That's what Jeremy did. He is in Oklahoma City listening to Rock 100 The Cat. Jeremy, you're on with David Lee Roth.
Jeremy, are you there?
Yeah.
How you doing tonight, Jeremy?
Doing great.
You got a question for us here this evening?
Yes, I sure do. Can you tell all your fans about your new bassist, Matt, and more about the keyboardist, Brent?
Well, you know, there's been a continuing changing cast of characters here over the last 3 albums, but the core generally remains the same, and we've added to the core. The bassinet guys is what we got on the rhythm section, not just the bassinet guy. One is not enough. And if you translate in French, very simply, bison means buffalo, and et means little buffalo, and where I come from, two's a herd. So these guys have been playing together since even before music. So it seemed like the obvious thing to do. And of course, Brett Tuggle and I put together 3 of the tunes that are on the Skyscraper LP. Brett played keyboard last season, and now he's an official member of, you know, I don't know, what do you call it? I was going to say this family. It's more like a roving youth gang, you know. and he's on stage with us and very much part of the group. So stay tuned.
And they're sounding good. Jeremy, thanks for the call. Thanks for starting us off tonight. We'll take a brief time out. We're back in just one moment with David Lee Roth. Your number to call is toll-free from anywhere in North America, 1-800-344-ROCK. Stay tuned for information regarding our Scorpion Savage amusement giveaway to see the Scorps live in Moscow. That's coming later on Rockline on the Global Satellite Network.
Turn up the jam. The rock and roll. I wanted to go hide someplace.
Rocking live to the biggest stars in rock and roll. It's Rockline on WRDU 106. Welcome back to an evening with David Lee Roth on Rockline. I'm Bob Coburn. Got a new station to welcome tonight, Power 94.5 in Junction City, Kansas. Glad to have you aboard.
Yeah, it's power time in Junction City. Who's out there in Junction City?
I don't know. I hope we find out tonight, though. Love to hear from you. Let's take a call now from Tulsa, Oklahoma. It's Kurt listening to KMOD. Kurt, you're on with David Lee Roth.
Hey, Dave.
Kurt, how you doing?
I'm doing great, man. I just want to tell you, me and my friends, David and Scott and Adam, we're all going to see you in Dallas, man, and we're expecting you to blow doors at the Union Arena Saturday, May 7th.
Oh, we'll smoke them till the wheels fall off. More bang for your buck right here, Kurt. You called the right place, and it isn't even 976. I'm talking to you for free. How about that, huh? This is America, and that's why we're on the radio in America, Kurt.
Can't beat that, man. So, where did you get the name Diamond Dave?
Oh man, I went to school when they started integrational busing in Pasadena, California, and I was in the nose cone of the first bus, and that changed my whole acculturalization. How do you like the way I phrased that? Changed everything. The way I talked, the music that I was listening to, the way I was dressing and everything. And when I journeyed back onto the other side of town, back onto what in quotation marks the right side of the tracks, I sparkled like a little diamond. I should run for office the way I got by that one, huh? But it's all in there between the lines. No, that's the truth, you know. It came from the way I was dressing back in junior high school. Kurt, have a real good evening.
Thanks for calling, Kurt. Let's call us again sometime, all right? We're going to move on to Gainesville, Florida. Rock 104 is our station there. We welcome Sandy to the Rockline. Hi, Sandy.
Hi, how you doing? This is Sandy from the road from Rock 104.
Hi, Sandy. How are you this evening?
Damn good. I'd like to know, what's happened to the fabulous Picasso brothers? Are we going to see them in one of your videos?
Oh, the fabulous Picasso brothers are stewing and simmering just right now in your honor, Sandy. They're just living right in the back of your just glorious little imagination. But you got to understand, you know, when you have just a single idea for a video, the most you have is, what, the 3 minutes, 28 seconds to put it up on the screen, you know. And we've been having a variety of ideas, you know, in between the Picasso brothers since then and now, and hopefully they're going to be back, perhaps on the next single.
So be looking for him, Sandy. Thanks for the call, and call us again sometime. Going to pass on a couple of concert dates that David has forthcoming. The 5th of April, that's tomorrow night, Erie, Pennsylvania, followed by date the 7th in East Rutherford, New Jersey at the Meadowlands. Hartford on the 8th, the 9th in Richmond, Virginia. Hershey, Pennsylvania on the 11th of this month, and the 13th in Toronto, Ontario, which is where we head right now to talk to Judy, a listener of Q107. Hi, Judy.
Hi, Dave.
Hi, Judy. How are you tonight?
Not bad. First, I just want to say that I'm really looking forward to your concert in Toronto on the 13th.
Well, we're really looking forward to seeing you there. Get a little closer to your telephone there, Judy.
Okay. My question is, after being solo for a while, what do you find are some of the disadvantages and advantages as compared to being in a major group?
Well, working with a band, as I did with Van Halen for a number of years, was an ensemble experience. It was a variety of people contributing a variety of things, and now it's much the same, except that we go, with a little different musical vision. After a number of years with Van Halen, kind of figure out a direction for yourself, and in terms of, what it should sound like in the end result, and you take a little more control over it. So going solo has provided me with a little more control. Anytime you're an artist, whatever you do, paint, sing, dance, whatever it is, the most you can hope for to realize what's in your head, what you're imagining is 99% of that. Maybe you'll get 99% close to what you're imagining. As an artist, you spend the rest of your life trying to cheat that 1% all that you can. And going solo has given me a little more control over that, and I'm getting just a little bit closer to that 1% and to you, Judy.
Judy,
I love the phone system around here.
Yeah. Judy, thanks for calling. Enjoy the concert on the 13th up there in Toronto. We're headed to Southern California now. We have a call from Culver City. Sherry, listening to 95.5 KLOS. Sherry, you're on with David Lee Roth.
Sherry.
Hi there.
Sherry, baby. How are you tonight?
Fine, thanks.
Talk to me, Sherry. Ask me a question.
Okay, yeah, I had a question regarding your mountain climbing. I was wondering how you got into rock climbing, and basically what's the highest mountain you've ever climbed, and what's your goal in rock climbing?
Oh, man, you got a bunch of questions there, but it all basically boils down to my folks always told me I belonged on the end of a rope. So I took a little poetic license, as we are so very often want to do in rock and roll, but, it's just because part and parcel of I was a Boy Scout. I was in Boy Scouts when I was 11 years old. I was a tenderfoot for 3.5 years, but I learned to build a fire, and then I did 3.5 years for that. No, but it was a question of just, wanting to go outdoors a little bit more, and camping and hiking, and you're always fooling around with the ropes, so we go a little bit higher and a little bit higher. Obviously, it's not something you don't just pop up to 2,400 feet for an album cover picture, that'd be a little desperate. But like anything else, it's something that you work your way up to, and just like rock and roll, climbing is like sometimes it's all you can do to hang on and stay right where you are, honey.
Boy, isn't that the truth? Sherry, thanks for calling. I hope David answered your question for you. We're going to play some music right now by David and the band. This is Just Like Paradise on Rockline.
Just like.
least an incredible simulation, just like Paradise.
It is just like Paradise. Now, come on, Bob, you got to tell me, is that not the ultimate rock and roll sentiment? You know, that is dealing with reality in its perfect form. What kind of person would say this isn't Paradise, it's just like Paradise? What does that mean? This is just like Paradise. It means, hey, we settle for what is, and you get in the car and let's go.
From the Skyscraper album, let me pass a couple of concert dates on again quickly here. The 14th of April, Cleveland. 15th, Washington, D.C., followed by date the 17th in Philadelphia. You will find David Lee Roth and his band on the 18th in Bethlehem, Pennsylvania, and Syracuse on the 19th. You're going to find us in Englishtown, New Jersey right now as we talk to Tim, listening to 92.3 K-Rock in New York City. Tim, you're on the Rockline.
Hi, Dave.
Hey, who's this?
It's Tim.
Tim, how you doing tonight?
Fine. How are you?
I'm doing great. What's happening?
I'm psyched. I'm going to see you Thursday at the Meadowlands.
Oh, man, have you got a decent seat?
Yep.
You got a seat belt?
Yep.
better tie those shoes on tight.
I noticed that there's a large emphasis on keyboards on this album. I wondered why you decided to put that emphasis on the album.
Well, keyboards on this album are used to glue everything together. It's to move over all the seams, to make all the music appear seamless, you know. And although very often you might not be immediately aware that you're listening to keyboards, it's always there, you know. It's always working as like an undertow. It's always it's a current that runs through all of the music. And it was also our way of combining some of the, you know, some of the better elements of the past, some of the sounds and some of the musical moves from the past, from the 60s, early 70s, with some of the keyboards, the synthesizer sounds and approaches from the future, some bold visions of what's to come. And ultimately, we decided to skip the present altogether, Tim.
There you go, Tim. Thanks for the call. Good ears, too, and enjoy the show, all right? We're headed to Tulsa. We're going to talk to Rick, KMOD, our station there. Rick, you're on with David Lee Roth.
Hey, Rick, how are you tonight?
Real good. How are you doing?
Doing super duper mega. What's up?
Well, I understand your new album, Skyscraper, is doing quite well in Europe, even better than your last album. And I was just wanting to know, does this mean you'll be spending more time in Europe during this tour?
Well, there's no telling what this will mean, Rick. Yes, in fact, we will be touring through Europe this season, as well as Japan, Australia, South America, if they're open, and you know, on and on. You know, last time was kind of it was a brand new thing. I had to start a band from scratch, and you know, and start a whole new thing from scratch, a new career and everything. And now we're pretty much, you know, we've got a direct base hit there, so we can go as we please. And this time we're going way distant, so we're definitely going to be touring in Europe more this year.
And lucky for them, and an extensive American tour in progress. We'll cover more in just a few minutes. Rick, thanks for the call. We appreciate it. Let's head to Norfolk, Virginia right now. We're going to talk to Cindy. She's listening to FM 99 WNOR. Cindy, meet David Lee Roth.
Hey, Dave.
Hey, Cindy, how are you tonight?
Fine. How are you?
Delicious.
Saw you in Hampton on the 25th. You put on a fantastic show. Keep up the great work.
Oh, thank you very much. You know, this show is harder to actually physically do than any I've ever done before. And if you noticed, as you were just saying, Cindy, there's really no rest time at all there. You know, it's constant music. We're doing some 20 songs, you know, back to back here, and woo, a lot of moving and everything. Did you feel moved, Cindy?
Yes, definitely.
Put your hand on the radio, Cindy. I'm gonna sin against you, Cindy.
Oh, Cindy.
Thank you, Cindy.
Thanks, Cindy. We appreciate it. We got to take a time out. We've got Scorpions information coming up, some more new rock and roll by David Lee Roth, and plenty of time for you to talk to David live and nationwide in the U.S. and Canada. Only one number for the one and only Rockline. Toll free, 1-800-344-ROCK. Line on WRDU 106.
Hi, this is Klaus Meine.
This is Roth Schenker.
This is Matthias Jabs of the
Scorpions! And next week, we'll be talking to all of our fans in North America as we take your phone calls live on Rockline. We'll see you then.
That's right. The Scorpions will be here 1 week from tonight on Rockline, and in 2 weeks, they'll be releasing their brand new album called Savage Amusement. And to help celebrate the occasion, Rockline and Polygram Records would like to send you on your own Savage Amusement all the way to the Soviet Union, where you'll see the Scorpions live in Moscow, April 29th. 3 listeners are going to win this incredible once-in-a-lifetime trip. Now, it also includes round-trip airfare, hotel accommodations for your 3-day stay in Moscow, 100 Russian ruble spending money, that's about $135. Now, to be eligible, you want to include on a postcard your name, address, age, day, and evening phone number, and the radio station that you listen to Rockline on, and send it to Scorpions Savage Amusement, care of Rockline, P.O. Box 4383, Hollywood, California, 90078. Your postcards must be here by this Thursday, April 7th, so time is quickly running out. Our grand prize winners must be 18 or older and must have a valid passport as well. If you don't have a passport, you can't leave the country. It's that simple. The trips will be awarded only upon verification of age and passport status. We'll announce the winners next week and give them the opportunity to talk to the Scorpions live on Rockline. In addition, 100 runners-up will win a copy of the new Scorps album, Savage Amusement, all courtesy of Polygram Records. Got some rock and roll by David Lee Roth, who is our guest for the entire program this evening. Damn Good is the name of this on Rockline.
Time rolls on, that's as it should be. Here and gone, seems to move so quickly. Man, we was happy in our restless hearts. It was heaven right here on earth. Yeah, we were laughing as we reached for the stars, and we had some for what it was worth. Those were good times, damn good times. Those were good times, damn good times. Hey, take a look at this picture. Can you believe that was you? And who's that standing there in the corner? Not me. All the crazy things we used to do. Sure, we was acting like a couple of kids. Good to remember, you know that it is. I still feel it like the sun on my skin. Maybe that's better. Cause these are good times, damn good times. Talk about good times, damn good times. So it's one for the money. But that don't make the show. No, no. Count to 3 and I'll be ready. Yeah, yeah. To follow that road. Yes, I will. I see it coming, yeah. This one is ours. We got heaven right here on earth. Ain't nothing like it when you're reaching for stars and you grab one for what it is worth. You can tell them we'll be having good times. Damn good times. I'm talking good times. Yes, sir. Damn good times.
Good times.
Yeah, damn good times.
Betcha. I'm going to pass on a couple of more concert dates for David Lee Roth and his band. By the way, that's some Skyscraper, just in case you didn't know, on Rockline.
Your naked, steaming eyes. We are on tour. Where are we on tour, Bob?
I'm going to round out the month of April here, David Lee. The 21st in New York, the 22nd in Worcester, also the 23rd in Worcester. Got a date in Minneapolis on the 26th, followed by Milwaukee on the 27th. And the last 2 dates for the month of April for David Lee Roth and company, Kansas City the 29th and the 30th, St. Louis, Missouri. We're going to go to Miami right now. Let's talk to Josephine.
Touring. Josephine, are you there?
Yes, I am. Hi, Dave.
Hi, Josephine. How are you this evening?
Hey, I'm in paradise now.
Or something just like it.
Yeah.
See how it becomes more and more clear the more you hear these songs? What's up, Josephine?
I've seen you in Miami and up in Lakeland, and I just want everybody to know that it was the best show I've ever seen.
Oh, thank you very much. Do you see a lot of shows, Josephine?
My question is, when you were writing the lyrics to Damn Good, were you like reminiscing about maybe, Van Halen or...
No, not Van Halen so much as just, friends, people that, you don't see when you get out of junior high, when you get out of high school or prison or wherever it is that you're getting out of, and you don't see somebody for a lot of time, like 10 years or something like that, and you do finally see them in a restaurant or on the highway or, in a picture on a post office wall or something, and all those memories come flooding back to you, and that's exactly what happened. Is I saw some people on the highway back in Los Angeles, and we pulled over, we were getting something to eat and talking about the old times, and those were the people that I was thinking of and sang the song to when it was time to record. It's supposed to make you think of your times. It's supposed to make you think of your good times, and it's a way of looking on whatever has gone by and saying, hey, it was good, damn good.
Yeah, there you go, Josephine. Thanks for calling. By the way, she listens to 97 GTR there in Miami. I think a minute ago I cut Cindy from Norfolk off. She's a listener of FM 99 WNOR. We want to give her a chance to get her question on. I just cut her right off, David. Cindy, you're on. Lots of luck.
Norfolk off. Cut her. I'm having a little transmission problem here, Bob. Cindy, are you there?
I'm here.
Must be your radio, David. Cindy, what's going on?
How are you, Cindy?
Fine.
Part 2, Cindy, the naked truth, ripped open, revealed as never before. Cindy, baby, Dave here, honey.
Okay, Dave, do you decide who your opening act will be, and if so, what do you look for in an opening band?
Well, we got Poison going to start opening up for us tomorrow in Erie, Pennsylvania. Yes, sir. You, me, and 10,000 of our closest friends with the new opening act, and we'll be cruising up and down the highway with Poison probably for the next handful of months at least. And what we look for in an opening act is somebody who can, round out the show, somebody who's going to help make the second half of the evening. You know what I'm saying? It's a lot of bands going to take trash out to open up, you feel like, hey, well, here's half my ticket price. But we aren't allowed to do that, are we? So I'll take up the flag, and we try and get the very best second half of the show, that we can possibly put together for you. More bang for your buck right here, Cindy.
It's a pretty good double bill starting tomorrow in Erie, Pennsylvania. Cindy, thanks for hanging in there for a while, too. I appreciate that. Let's move on and talk to Kathy in Tallahassee, one of our newest affiliates here on Rockline. She's listening to Gulf 104, and we welcome her on the Rockline. Hi.
Hi, Kathy.
Hi, David. How are you?
I'm doing great this evening. How are you? What's on your mind?
I wanted to know how Steve Vai has influenced you.
Steve Vai has influenced me in a very stratospherical kind of way. Are you getting an echo in here? When you're dealing with stellar subjects, sometimes it does echo. Stevie's premise for music is definitely stellar. It's outer spaces sometimes, not in that it's bizarre or that it's weird, but that, I grew up on a steady diet of very traditional songwriting, things like the Beatles and the Stones, and where Steve Vai perhaps comes off from is something that would be a little more abstract or a little more complicated, things like the way some of the Hendrix moves were, or some of your more extravagant Zeppelin moves, and the combination has proved pretty killer so far. What do you think?
Yeah, what do you think, Kathy? How do you like it?
Damn good.
Oh, man, and there you have it. Well,
one of the catchphrases for this evening. I think it's time to go crazy right now. And this, if you've not heard this, you're going to have some fun with this. Going Crazy on Rockline with David Lee Roth.
Y me caía al agua. Oh no, amor, si no me hizo frase alguna. Digo, cuidado con la hija de la carne. Oh, no me quieres dejar, pero para atrás, eso te digo muy bien.
Loco, mi amigo, going crazy. The bilingual mix of that.
We are going crazy right here in Cleveland, too.
That's
broadcasting all over the free world. Yeah.
David is located at WMMS, the home of the Buzzard in Cleveland right now. I'm in our Hollywood Rockline studio, and Joseph is in St. Louis, Missouri, and he's on the Rockline phone right now. A listener of KC95. Joseph, you're on.
Hey,
Joseph, how are you doing?
Oh, I'm doing great, man.
Oh, man. Are you getting an echo over there?
Oh, yeah.
Can you hear the echo? It sounds great. Pay no attention to that man behind the curtain. What's up, Joseph?
Not much, man. We're looking forward to see you April 30th.
Woo! It's gonna be a stupefying concert, hellifying concert. What kind of music do you like, Joseph?
Van Halen, David Lee Roth. That's awesome.
Oh, here we go, huh? You get the double punch when you come to this concert too, because we're playing the hits, you know, all the classic stuff. We mix it up with the middle and what we just did recently and everything. You get a full blast package here.
I was wondering what influenced you to do your Eat 'em and Smile in Spanish and how you did on it.
Well, Spanish is, the second language of the world, and music is the first. You know, it's if you can speak music, then you can talk to anybody. So we're just going to expand from there. I learned to speak Spanish when I was shoveling at a horse stable in Pasadena, California. That was my first occupation. That was my first job. I was 12 years old, and I learned to speak Spanish there, living in California. So it was a very natural thing. Also, Spanish, as a language, whistles and pops, like the drums do. It's difficult to sing rock and roll in French, unless you're really desperately in love, and it's hard to make the two go together.
Now, are you fluent in Spanish? Because a lot of people just use cards, phonetics, or whatever.
No, hablo bastante español para hablar con la gente que solamente habla en español, pal.
Well, I guess that answers that question, yeah.
Or something just like it.
Tell us about judging the Miss Mexico pageant down in Guadalajara. How'd you get involved in that?
Oh, my goodness. I was halftime entertainment down there, and it was the wildest thing because, they're having all the Miss Mexico, pageant contests come out there, and they're playing a song in the background, and the song is the PA system was not the greatest, and they're going and you can't really understand who's singing the song, and he's yelling, Miss Jalisco Province, and she'd dance out there, and he'd say, Miss Guadalajara, and she'd dance out there, and after about 22 minutes, I realized that we're listening to Wango Tango by Ted Nugent on a tape loop. You, me, and 45 million of our closest friends worldwide are doing the big salami. It's a hot salami. As if somebody is either a genius or very definitely out of work backstage.
Joseph, thanks for calling and being on. We're going to move on right now. We're going to talk to Mark in Lexington, Kentucky. He's listening to 98 Rock Double Q. Mark, you're on with David Lee Roth.
Dave.
Mark, how you doing? You sound like you're talking to us from a helicopter.
No, man, I'm just down here sitting in Lexington. Man, I just want to know, how hard was it for you to get started, and how did you get started?
How did I get started at what?
I guess California.
Well, I jumped off the table, tipped the nurse a quarter, and asked my mom which way is Hollywood.
Mark, can you be more specific? Are you asking how David got started in show business? Is that particularly?
Yeah, just music business.
Music business, okay.
Well, to get started realistically in the music biz, if you want to make records and you want to be on a radio and that kind of thing, then you have to go where all that comes from. And a lot of that comes from out of Los Angeles or New York. When Los Angeles is where the Van Halen group got started, we started out playing in bars. We started out playing backyard parties and weddings, and just sort of expanded from there. Take that onto a bigger stage, all throughout my career, you read in the magazines, a lot of people are trying to, take a little show and expand it into a great big $1 million production. And all throughout my career, I've tried to take a $1 million production and turn it into a garage for you in your own backyard.
Mark, thanks for calling. We appreciate it. We're gonna
Good luck to you, Mark. You sound like a perspiring young musician.
We're gonna let Simone have her turn. She's in New York, listening to 92.3 K Rock. Hi, Simone.
Hi, Dave.
Hi, Simone. How are you tonight?
Oh, the greatest ever. I have to tell you, a few seconds ago you were just talking about the song Damn Good.
Uh-huh.
And you said that it should be a memory for something that happened in your life.
Mm-hmm.
And I would like to thank you, one, for the song, 'cause it's the most beautiful song I've ever heard, and two, for making that special memory for me.
Oh, well, thank you very much. Would you like to share that memory with us here?
I would love to. I would like the whole world to know.
Okay.
I met you last month at the Hard Rock Cafe.
Uh-huh.
And when you were doing a special with Scott Muni.
Uh-huh.
And as you were leaving, I got in front of you. And I just looked at you and I asked you if I could have a kiss. And you just looked at me and gave me a big smile and kissed me. And it was like the greatest thing ever in my life.
Well, I'm glad you shared that with you, Simone.
It was wonderful. But my question is, I'm hopefully going to see you on Thursday night at the Meadowlands. And I've heard so much about your spectacular feats that you're going to be doing on stage, about the boxing ring and the surfboard. And I was wondering if you can get a little more graphic with us about that.
Oh.
Well, sure, a little tit for tat. We'll just, you can expect it to look like it sounds, you know. We talk about some of the tricks and stuff that we do in the show. Most of those are reserved for the second half of the show, you know. I don't want to distract. I'm a big fan of traditional rock and roll. You know, let the music live and breathe on its own. And then when it sounds like an awesome tidal wave, hey, Simone, let's surf it. Sounds like you were in the right position for a tandem shot at a big wave last time. Wrap your arms around me, honey. We can't be beat. My wave.
Simone, thanks for the call. Calling from New York City, a listener of 92.3 K-Rock there in New York City. I want to mention a couple of more concert dates quickly, then we'll be back with some more music by Dave and Lee and some more telephone conversation, too. For the month of May, the 1st, Cincinnati, the 3rd, Memphis, followed by Nashville on the 4th, and Atlanta on the 5th. You'll find David Lee Roth and the band in Fort Worth, the Dallas area on the 7th, also the 9th in Houston, the 10th in Austin, and the 11th in El Paso. We'll be back in just one moment. Your number to call is toll-free from anywhere in North America, 1-800-344-ROCK. We're talking rock and roll on Rockline.
Get ready, turn up the jam.